All right, let's talk cricket. For some people, it's this beautiful strategic game, but for others, it can look, well, a little complicated. But here's the thing. It's all built on a framework, a set of laws that have been tweaked and perfected for hundreds of years. So today, we're going to dive in and decode that official rulebook.
So, you might be wondering who actually comes up with these rules. Well, that would be the Marylebone Cricket Club, or the MCC. And get this, they've been the ones in charge, the sole authority, since way, way back in 1788. We're talking about a private club that basically acts as the guardian of the game's official code for the entire world. And this is where things get really interesting. This quote, it's from the very beginning of the official rulebook. I mean, before they even get to a single rule about how to play, the MCC puts this front and center. They're basically saying, hey, there's something more going on here. It's not just about the technicalities of what you can do, it's about what you should do. And, when those two ideas butt heads, that's when cricket gets really, really good. Which actually leads us perfectly into our first big idea. Before we even touch on the nitty-gritty of wickets and bats and all that, we have to get our heads around this foundational concept, the spirit of the game. Think of it as the soul of cricket, the philosophy that everything else is built on. So what does that even mean, the spirit of the game? Well, in practice, it's pretty simple. It's a code of conduct, right? It boils down to a few key things. First, respect. Respect your captain, your teammates, your opponents, and absolutely the umpires. Second, play hard, but play fair. Go all out, but don't cheat. And maybe the most important part, you accept the umpire's decision, no questions asked, and you just help create a good vibe out there for everybody. Okay, so we've kind of established the why of the game, that whole spirit of cricket thing. Now let's get to the who. Cricket is obviously a team sport, but it really depends on a few key people doing their jobs just right. So let's meet the cast. First up, you've got the players. The rulebook is super clear on this. It's 2 teams, 11 players on each side. Simple as that. And in each of those teams, one person is the captain. They're the one calling the shots, setting the strategy, and they're ultimately responsible for how their team behaves on the field. Then you have the umpires. You'll see 2 of them out on the field, and let me tell you, their authority is absolute. They're the impartial judges, the referees. They enforce the laws, and this is key, they are the only ones who get to decide what's fair and what's not. What they say goes. End of story. And we can't forget the scorers. These folks have such a crucial job. They are literally keeping a detailed record of everything that happens in the match. Every single run, every wicket, every over bowled. They're constantly checking in with the umpires to make sure the official record of the game is 100% accurate. All right, so we've got the who and the why covered. Now let's look at the what, the tools of the trade. Cricket has some really iconic equipment, and you better believe the rules for it are super specific. I mean, just take the bat, for example. It's a perfect case study in how detailed these laws get. It has to be made of wood, and the rules put a hard cap on its length, no more than 38 inches. And that's not all. There are rules for its width, its depth. It's all designed to keep the contest between the bat and the ball totally fair. And here's a fantastic example of how these laws aren't just stuck in the past. They're a living, breathing document. Just recently, the MCC made a change. They officially swapped out the old term batsman for the gender-neutral term batter. It might seem like a small tweak in wording, but it's a huge step toward making the game more inclusive for everybody. And it's the same story with the ball. It's specified down to the gram and millimeter. But what I find really fascinating is that it's not a one-size-fits-all situation. The weight and the circumference are actually a little different for men's, women's, and junior cricket. It's a really smart, subtle adjustment to make sure the equipment is just right for whoever is playing. Okay, we have the people, we have the tools, but where does all this action take place? Let's set the stage. Everything in cricket, everything revolves around this one iconic number. 22 yards. That's the length of the pitch. That strip of grass right in the middle where the real battle between the bowler and the batter happens. So if we zoom in on that central area, it's really made up of 3 main parts. You've got the pitch itself, that 22-yard strip. Then, at each end of the pitch, you have the wickets. And finally, you'll see these white lines painted on the ground. Those are the creases, and trust me, they are super important for a lot of the rules. Let's talk about that wicket for a second, because it's basically the whole target. It's made of 3 wooden posts, we call those stumps, and then balanced right on top are 2 little pieces of wood called bails. The goal for the fielding team is to hit that wicket and knock the bails off. The batter's job? Defend it at all costs.
Okay, recap time. We've set the stage, we've met the players, we've got the gear. So, how does it all come together? Let's get into the action.
When you boil it all down, the main goal is actually pretty simple. You've got one team batting, and their job is to score as many runs as they can. The other team is bowling and fielding, and their job is to get the batters out to stop them from scoring. Once that's done, they switch places. That's it.
And the whole rhythm of the game, the entire flow, is built around this one little number: 6. Why 6? Because the game is played in chunks called overs. An over is just 6 legal balls, all bowled by the same person from one end of the pitch. After those 6 balls are done, that's one over. Then a new bowler takes over from the opposite end and starts the next one. But here's the catch. Not every ball they bowl actually counts. They have to be valid deliveries. If a bowler messes up and bowls an illegal ball, something called a no ball or a wide, it doesn't count as one of their 6. And not only that, they have to bowl an extra ball to make up for it, and the batting team gets a free penalty run. It seems like a small thing, but tactically, it's a huge deal. So as we start to wrap this up, I think the big thing to remember is that these laws aren't some ancient text that never changes. They have this incredibly long history, right? From the very first known code way back in 1744 to the MCC taking over, to adding that whole spirit of cricket idea in 2000, and even the recent change to the word batter. The game is always evolving. And that really brings us to the end of our little tour through the laws. We've seen how the rules give the game its structure, its skeleton. But that preamble, that spirit of the game, tells us that sportsmanship and respect are what give cricket its heart. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. As the game moves forward, which one do you think matters more?